Well, everyone, the Meta Quest 3 has just officially came out, and I wanted to do a comparison between the Meta Quest 3 and the Meta Quest Pro to kind of show you all that the Meta Quest Pro is probably not intended for a vast majority of people, and why even the Meta Quest 2 is probably a really good option for a lot of people. Now, if you want to pick up some of these Meta Quest devices, links will be down in the description. You can get them from there, and you can help support the channel at the same time. Now, with the outside of both of these specific devices, they are very, very different. They are not intended to be kind of competitors. Rather, the Meta Quest Pro is, I think, designed for people who are actually, immersed completely into the metaverse and meta things like that. Whether you're in VR, AR, you definitely are in that area. You're probably buying the Meta Quest Pro. I also think for professionals, like if your work requires you or if you're a company, getting the Meta Quest Pro is probably the best option for a lot of people. If you have a huge budget within your project or your team, then get the Meta Quest Pro. It's not really your money. Just go ahead and spend it on those devices. The Meta Quest 3, though, is intended for the consumer. For the average person out there who's just walking into Best Buy, getting something like the Meta Quest to use like on their weekends or as a gaming system or whatever, that is what the Meta Quest 3 is for. And I would argue in some cases that the Meta Quest 3 is probably a better option for everyone rather than the Meta Quest Pro. And the main reason for that is the community behind these devices. The Meta Quest Pro, there's not really too many people who are going to be purchasing that device. It's expensive. Meta is going to spend a lot of money on it, but a vast majority of people are buying something like the Meta Quest 3. And the reason for that, and the reason why that's important, is because there's going to be more of a community behind that, and probably for all the games and applications and everything like that that are going to be made in the future, getting something like the Meta Quest 3, you're really not going to be missing out on that much. You're still going to be getting a very good system with a ton of capability, and that's a big thing to keep in mind there. Now, in terms of the pricing, there's a slight difference in the pricing between both of these. The Meta Quest 3 is around $500 right now, brand new. The Meta Quest Pro is pretty much a $1,000 device. There's a massive difference there too. You're spending basically twice the amount of money for the Meta Quest, Pro. Now, is it a great amount of difference? Well, it's a little bit of a different system. It's a little bit of a different situation. I will kind of tell you that if you're coming from the Meta Quest 2, going to the Meta Quest 3 is going to be a pretty big difference. The Quest Pro is still it's a better system overall, but I would probably tell you the Meta Quest 3 is still very, very good for a lot of people out there. Now, apparently from what I'm hearing, the Meta Quest 3 also has higher resolution displays than the Meta Quest Pro. What are the chances? That is something that's actually insane. On top of that, the Quest 3's refresh rates can reach up to 120 Hz. The Quest Pro can only go up to 90 Hz. That is a very interesting thing. So the fact that the Quest 3 can actually do that and has a little bit of an advantage there is a very, very cool thing. I think that in and of itself, although it wouldn't be the reason why I'd go and downgrade to a Quest 3, that is a very big thing to keep in mind here. There's also a slight difference with the way they hold up in your head. I think the Quest Pro is probably going to be more comfortable for a lot of people. And when I was using my Quest Pro, I had a pretty good time with it. I really wasn't complaining about it that much, but I've really never even complained about the Quest 2. I never felt like that was a super uncomfortable console to hold, but definitely between these two, you are for sure getting a way better feeling, device on the Quest Pro than on the, Meta Quest 3. Now, controllers are also a slight difference here. You are basically getting rechargeable controllers inside of the Quest Pro. The Quest 3, you still have to use that AA battery in order to actually, use those controllers. I don't think the batteries are that annoying. You can always put in rechargeable controller batteries within this by just buying AA batteries, but that could be a slight difference for a lot of people as well. If you're wanting to go through and actually get a specific, device control and everything, you might have a better experience with something like the Quest Pro. And just the fact that you can just not only have a dock to plug in your specific headset, but also to charge your controllers as well. That's a really cool thing. Not a lot of people have that, but that does kind of, mean a couple of things, but also you can buy a Quest 3 dock with rechargeable batteries. So it is an extra $100 something, but that is just one thing to kind of keep in mind there too, that you have that type of capability within that device. Now, beyond that, there's not a lot of massive amounts of differences here. I mean, of course, the Quest Pro is going to be the better device that's going to be meant for more premium people who are buying that, specific device. But I think the Quest 3 for a lot of people is still a viable option, and I would still highly recommend a lot of people to buy the Quest 3. And to be honest, if you're wanting the more powerful device with, a massive amount of future and massive amount of features, the Quest Pro is by far the better option here. I feel like that is the one I'd recommend every single person to buy, and that would make the most amount of sense to me. But with the Quest 3, this is the device that probably I would recommend almost every single person to buy, right? The Quest Pro, like if you have the money, go for it. But the Quest 3, I think, is a very solid, viable option for a vast majority of people. And I would just recommend buying that because it won't cost like as much money and you're still getting a very, very comparable situation. So that's kind of how I feel with both these devices. I would recommend buying the Quest Pro if you can afford it. But for everyone else, just go ahead and buy the Quest Pro, and you'll probably go and have a really, really good time with that too. So that kind of covers it up there. If you have any other thoughts or questions, let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that will mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.